in 1984 when I came to the UN, on the eve of Simchat Torah. A former soldier of mine, Shmari Ariel, came to see me in the UN where I was serving as Israel's ambassador. He said, "You have to come to a big convocation tonight."
Bibi Netanyahu asked me to join him. I was a senior legal officer in the United Nations, working for the United Nations. We were taken up to where the Rebbe used to sit, just in front of the Aron Kodesh.
The Rebbe came in. I was told to go and approach him. I said, "Rebbe, I came to see you." And he looked aside and he said, "Just to see, not to talk." And so we started talking, and we had a 45-minute conversation.
At that time, Prime Minister Shamir was involved in negotiations to withdraw Israeli forces from Lebanon. The Rebbe was very insistent that Israel shouldn't withdraw because there was terrorism emanating from Lebanese territory. In fact, he said several times, Yad Chazaka uzro netuya.
Wenn es dort zu kommen, der Linie von Lebanon ist gewähnt als zugegerichtet Tochnis, wo wegen der Tochnis haben gewusst Israel. Beschaß mit das nie durchführen. Wird es sich sehen, dass viele Jiden haben mehr, aber die Belschehen haben, dass viele Jiden seien nicht frei. Und vielen sein Kimaschili, a viele in Milchemes Mogen, nicht Milchemes Mogen auf Tibush Arotzes, Milchemes Mogen von Azar HaZerer Bearzicher.
The Rebbe was very keen. The Israeli ambassador would be assertive with respect to Israel's rights in the international community, especially in light of the fact that the UN was then and still is an organization that's not a friendly organization to Israel. The resolutions that are adopted there are hostile resolutions.
Once more violence has erupted in the Middle East. Whatever the justification or lack of justification.
Continually fomenting trouble and turmoil in the Middle East is continually.
He called it the house of darkness. And he said, even in the greatest darkness, if you light a candle, it spreads a great light that can be seen from afar. And of course, he said to remember what I represent, who I represent, to stand firmly and proudly for Israel and the Jewish people, which I did.
Darf man reden klare Wörter und nicht der Hakdome. Aber man redet B'Shem Havaya Lekeinu Maskir und B'Shem Havaya Lekeinu Nidgir. Und der Pfarr redet man befen Kach wie Kach und der Pfarr tut man befen Kach wie Kach. Ich verstandig, als in Drufe sich nicht scheiches zu dingen, aber es nicht allein mit sie ist. Man gibt über den Nebischen Werte und den Nebischen Schlichen. Was hat damals Wert, als wir Jahre mit Panecho, a Linie von Jiras Hakove.
Certain times he would send in a note and he would get a response to the note. I was involved because he wanted to know, to understand what the Rebbe was saying. The Rebbe put a lot of emphasis on that he should stay in the United Nations. But then after a while, he had pressures to go back, become more politically involved in the government.
שמעתי וראיתי את המסר שלך. אני מתכוון להמשיך בדיוק בקו הזה. קמדתי יותר מזה.
זה הקו הכי טוב בשביל...
הקו היחידי.
שלא יצטרכו לכל עניין של בכל דקנית. אני בשוב במחס בשביל. אבל שמחה.
אני מודה לך על ההזדמנויות שנתת לבוא ולעזור לך. לקבל את הסיוע שאתה כותב. לא רק להכיר את כל עם ישראל.
אני עדיין בתחילת המסע שלי.
אני יודע, בגלל זה...
קראתי בתחילת התפקיד האחרון.
אני בא בתחילת מעשה לאדם בתחילת מעשה. ואני מתכוון לחזור אליך.
עסקים סודק לסעדיק עם מאיר ב9-10 אנשים. ורדיו תפרש לי, כאילו שהקודש ברוך הוא לצד הזה.
After I went back to Israel, it was a continuous contact.
Special prayer for Binyamin Netanyahou, who is a very dear friend of mine in Israel. Binyamin Netanyahou. Bibi, yes. Yeah.
That will give the charity for him and to tell him that certainly he will continue to hold on to the hard life as before. And he will be occasion to add to his strength. He certainly finds strength in himself to continue it for the time being and after that.
And at the end of the day, keeping both land that is vital for us strategically and from a national and historic point of view, this was something that I think came very strong and very clear from him.
When he was here, he was very strong about Shleimus Haaretz.
Yes.
After returning to Israel, he had received a government appointment, etc. But for some reasons, he is not so strict about Shleimus Haaretz. You can write it in Lashon Hara, but if it will help that he would become stricter as before, I'll be very happy about it.
He'll do that. I will be sure that he gets the message.
I have to tell you that in politics, obviously, you have to fix your eye on a particular target. But sometimes you weave around in order to get to that target. The Rebbe never moved away from basic principles. He always had his gaze fixed on the most important things. It was reassuring for me to have that clarity expressed by such an important leader in the Jewish world.
In 1984, when I was appointed Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, I visited the great Rabbi of Loubavitch. He said to me, "You'll be serving in a house of many lies. Remember that even in the darkest place, the light of a single candle can be seen far and wide.